Today I'm making this super adorable 3-in-1 dream catcher, which I'm completely obsessed with. For this project, you will need some sticks, some string, cord, or ribbon, white feathers, acrylic paint, white spray paint, beads, as well as some hoops. I am using 2 that are made out of cardboard and 2 that are old bracelet bangles, as well as a hot glue gun and glue sticks, scissors, and painter's tape. Begin by going outside and spray painting the sticks that you have a solid color. I decided to do white since I'm painting over it in sort of pastel kind of colors. I wanted it really to stand out. You can use a hoop or something more sturdy for the ring of the dream catcher. However, as long as you glue 2 pieces of cardboard together with the grains going opposite ways, it's actually really sturdy and can totally be used as well. Once you have your ring either made or purchased, go ahead and wrap it in whatever kind of materials you would like. I used some yarn and some ribbon, but you could use felt pieces, fabric pieces, honestly, absolutely anything. When you want to switch out the color of whatever material you're using or just the texture and you want to switch to something else, go ahead and secure a new piece with hot glue down and overlap it a bit on the previous section just so that there is no gap showing and it's all looking very seamless. Okay, so now your ring is completely done. I'm using Eslon cord, which is a really heavy-duty beading jewelry cord to create the actual insides of my dream catcher, but you could use anything that you want, even embroidery floss would be fine. So I just went ahead and secured it to the top and then made loops around the loop to start off my dream catcher. Now, I don't know if this is 100% the way that you accurately make the insides of Dreamcatcher, but I think it works perfectly fine, and you seriously could just go on the internet and like look up the proper, I use it very loosely, way to make it. But honestly, this works fine. Just loop it around the outside once, and then, or until you know the whole outside is complete. Then it's easier at that point to cut a piece off the spool so that you're not using the whole spool, and loop the thread through the next loop that's already created. I'm not sure if that makes any sense. I'm really trying to explain it best, but if you look at what I'm doing, it probably would make more sense than listening to what I'm saying. So as you can see on the right hand side, the 2 smaller ones, I only put beads in the very center. But for the larger one, I kind of wanted to have them dispersed. So I made sure that I looped my string through itself 3 times around the center before I started adding beads. Then I would just add a bead and continue doing the exact same thing I was doing before, and it holds the bead in that place so it can't move around. And then just between beads, like I would loop it twice through 2 separate sections before adding the next bead to it, just so that there was some space in between them. Can go ahead and begin the painting of the feathers if you want to paint your feathers. Make sure again you're using a surface to paint on, because a lot of the paint will bleed through, and you don't want to get that all over your work surface. I had no particular rhyme or reason for the patterns that I made, aside of making sure I used certain colors because I wanted everything to blend in well. Once you're done painting, remove the feathers from the cardboard because you don't want them to dry into the cardboard, and then just set them on top and let them dry. I then went ahead and painted the round circular wooden bead that I'm going to use at the top, kind of to hang it from, in the same green color that I've been using throughout the entire project. While the feathers dried, I went ahead and painted the sticks. So in order to do that, I used some painter's tape, wrapped it around the sticks in various places. Obviously whatever part has the paint or the tape on it won't be painted, so will just be white, and then I can go ahead and paint in the rest of the sections. Now you could freehand this if you wanted to. I just found that the tape was easiest. Once the first stick is completed, set it aside, let it dry, and begin working on the second one. In order to make the strings with the feathers and the beads on them, you just want to put the beads onto the string, put some hot glue in the very last one, and slide the feather into it. This is going to hold the feather to the bead to the string. Then go ahead and push the others down to cover up the base of the feather, and that's it. Alright, so now it's time to assemble everything. So to attach the second stick is the exact same process as attaching the first. So I'm just showing you the one because it'll give you an idea of how I did it. Make sure that you put some hot glue or whatever adhesive you're using on the back side, because you don't want it to show of the stick, and then lay it down on top of the cord that you're using to bind everything together. Then once that little bit of hot glue is dry, you can go ahead, add another dot, and then begin wrapping the cord. This will ensure that it doesn't go anywhere and stays secure the entire time you have it hanging. Once that's done, it's time to begin attaching the discs of the dream catcher. So I just went ahead and used some of that same yarn that I was using and tied a loop onto the dream catcher at the top. And then I did the exact same process that I used to attach the two sticks together. I dabbed a bit of hot glue on the underside, wait for it to dry, and then I began wrapping the yarn around the stick using more hot glue to secure it in place. Then of course go ahead and cut off any excess string that you have. I then used some of the same ribbon that I had already used on the hoop of the dream catcher and just glued it onto the bottom so there was kind of like a little fringe happening, and I just alternated the colors in whatever pattern I thought was cool. Basically it was about size, not, you know, color so much. Then to attach the two smaller dream catchers, I did the exact same process as the first, put a bit of hot glue, attached the yarn, wrapped it around, cut off any excess. The final step is to attach the feathers to your dream catcher. So go ahead and loop the yarn that you've used and put it around the underside and then up through the actual dream catcher disc that you've made. Put the strings through that hole and pull tightly. It doesn't involve any knots. You can remove them whenever you want. You can adjust the positioning of them. Yeah, it's really simple. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you would like to check out the last 3 videos I did, they are all here linked on the screen, as well as an option for you to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future videos.